I don't know if you folks are talking to me, but we do not have sound on our side.
How about now?
Got it. Thank you.
Hey there. So we have opened, the chairs opened the public hearing, and we weren't sure if anybody else from your team would be joining us. But if you would like to present the application, the floor is yours.
Sure. I will do that shortly. Much appreciated for the time, folks, as well. And Mary, it's nice to finally put a face with a name. Um, am I able to share a screen or not?
Yep.
Okay. Apologies for that, folks. Um, Rudarpa North Country LLC. We are a renewable natural gas producer located in Bethlehem. We have installed some equipment on property and have found that through a title insurance um, process that there are two structures that are encroaching in the 30-foot setback um, on the property boundary. The two items that are encroaching are a concrete foundation for a flare and a propane tank. The propane tank itself is not a large deal from a financial standpoint to move. We can relocate that. But the request mainly is coming from the flare pad and flare stack, which would require a large amount of money and downtime for the facility to relocate. We believe that during this construction process, that this was simply either a installation error or an error in the original survey. We were aware of the setback and had plans to install this outside of the setback, but that did not happen. So that is our request, and appreciate the time and the group here for this.
We're asking questions. Yeah, it'd be helpful if you step through kind of the history of this and your responses to the criteria for granting the equitable waiver.
Sure. Apologies. The the history was that this facility originally was constructed by another entity, the original Rudarpa North Country owners. Viridi Energy LLC purchased this site and with the intention of uh, bringing it back to operation and debottlenecking the facility. One of the items that we did from a safety standpoint was relocate the utility flare to the site that is currently in the setback. That was done from a safety reason. It was the original flare location was too close to the processing facility, and we wanted to prevent any potentially dangerous situations there. Um, the request for the setback, it does not impact or should not impact neighboring landowners. The property owner that is adjacent to this, which is the setback that we're encroaching on, is North Country Environmental Services, and who we are leasing the current land from. And as mentioned, in order to relocate that flare, the actual direct cost would be roughly $100,000, and downtime from the facility would result in lost revenue of roughly $1.1 million.
Okay, thank you. The other part of the criteria 2 is how the violation was not an outcome of ignorance of the law or bad faith, but resulted from a good faith error in measurement or calculation. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted him to describe that. Yeah. So you don't know if it's an error by the contractor or the surveyor?
Correct. I believe it is one or the other, but not intentional. The site or the flare was located using the engineering drawing that what I had shown or included with the application from ESI, and then the title insurance company completed the Alta survey after the fact and located or noted the encroachment. So what I don't know is if it was the coordinates that were off originally, or if the contractor, I believe, located possibly one corner and went the opposite, the direction that they should not have gone.
Okay.
That's a question.
I got a couple of questions too.
Did I hear you correctly? You had the flare in one spot, you built it, and then you moved it again. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
Since
well,
the
yes,
flare was-
the
since the
original
flare was
owners.
built. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. The original owners had originally built the flare, erected it close to the building itself, and
Was that
then
inside the setback?
say that again.
The first flare, was that in the correct place?
It was
As
not
the map showed?
it was not encroaching in the setback.
What year was it moved?
2025.
That's
So can you tell me what the setback is we're talking about?
It is a
What's the distance? Is it
30
30
feet.
feet?
30
30
feet,
feet.
yes.
And what is the height of the flare tower?
Third, I might have to get that, but it is between 30 and 40 feet.
Okay. Is there any state guidance on citing these things?
Yes. So this flare is permitted through New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. It does have an active permit, and air dispersion modeling was done with the flare at its current location. So it is in compliance from the state level, just not from the local.
So they have no overriding guidance that would call for a bigger setback.
Correct. They do not.
Okay. My other question is, why don't you just do a lot line adjustment since it's the same owner of both parcels?
At the I guess ease of not ease, but the not wanting to go through that process with the change of lot line. This seemed to be the easier path.
But it's fair to say that lot line adjustment would be much less expensive than the cost that you cite for moving the flare itself. Correct?
That would be the case, yes. I do not know how long that would take timing wise. That ends up, I mean, from a legal perspective, likely would take 30 to 60 days and would frankly interfere with some of the title insurance work that is going on right now for this.
What is taking place on the adjoining lot?
On the adjoining lot, the one that is encroaching on is, I
Yeah.
believe, nothing, just vacant land. It's all land owned by the landfill itself.
Right,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
How far was the flare moved from the original location to now? What's the distance?
Distance that it did move, roughly 100 feet.
100 feet?
Yes.
There seem to be two flares on that property. Is that correct? Which one is that we talking about?
On the lease property, it's the only flare. But there are other flares on the landfill property that are permitted through the landfill.
In terms of that permit, are the town records only have a temporary permit for the one relocated and enlarged flare, which expired last month? Do you have an updated permit for the flare?
Yes, there's an operating permit application that is in. It had been in prior to the expiration, and I do have a letter from or an email from DES that has the recommendation for submitting it. We've worked with Sanborn Head through the application process on all of these permitting activities, frankly.
Right, so it's in progress.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the size of the foundation it's sitting on?
Roughly 3 feet by 3 feet.
Oh, that's all it is? That little. Oh.
It's a small pad. Yeah, it's fairly deep though. From a relocating standpoint, that's the part that would it has I think it's roughly 5 feet deep to prevent
And
overturning.
the planning board didn't it be notified for your change of moving the flare? It's a business, so you move the flare, wouldn't that require town permit?
I don't believe it would, but maybe. I don't know.
So you changed the original plot map you gave to the town for you when you got your approval, showed the flare in one location, and then you moved the flare. So you altered the site map, so that would require town planning board approval, wouldn't it?
Please, do you know?
If that was a condition of the planning board approval, then definitely.
So if I built a building and then changed it, I can't just change it, I have to get approval.
Right, in 2024, I don't know if
Mhm.
there was any conversation with the planning board in 2024. About the replacement of the flare, the moving of the flare.
I know it's not very much square feet, but I don't know the rule on that.
Yeah, we did find the building permit for the original construction and the original location of the flare. However, the town doesn't have a record of a building permit for moving the flare. Did you apply for a building permit?
I will have to look into that and see if that was either applied for or if the conversation with the town was that it was not needed. I will look into that.
All right, thank you.
I think-
Any other questions?
Well, it seems to me that question makes it impossible for us to proceed.
Right.
So we have to wait for more info.
Yeah, then we have to decide if that affects the good faith criterion. So that's a judgment on our part. So, any other questions, or shall we step through the criteria?
At what point do we want to have some public input?
We can do that. That sounds like a good idea.
I think this is probably the time for that.
Sounds good. So anybody want to speak or ask questions on the application? Chris? You have 3 minutes.
Chris Jensen, Lisa Road. I'm confused about why it seems to be unclear whether or not the issue was a misplacement or that the boundary was wrong? Seems to me that that ought to be fairly clear, that either the boundary was wrong or it wasn't. Why is it that you seem unsure which one it is?
Because of just the fact that the drawing itself from ESI may not have been as accurate as an Alta survey. Now, I will I believe that it was a contractor install error. The coordinates are called out on the ESI drawing, and if they had used the correct coordinates, those are in the correct place. It's just a matter of if one, whether they installed it incorrectly, or two, whether they located it incorrectly with the coordinates.
Can I ask another question?
Yep.
Not really.
No, why, Chris? Chris said not really.
Well, he's on the board, so
We have another question.
why can I ask a question?
Anyone else?
Name's John Glass.
Oh,
I live at 719 Whitefield Road in Bethlehem. The question I have is this property still owned by Casella? Or have they sold the property along with the site? Because if it,
Ask him.
It's being used.
is the property still owned by Casella?
Correct. North Country Environmental Services, but yes,
North
subsidiary
Country,
of
yeah.
Casella.
So if
Yeah.
it's still owned by that company has taken advantage of the town of Bethlehem any chance they get. And I don't see why we should bend over backwards to try to save them some money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mary Pulaski, John's wife, 719 Whitefield Road. I agree. It feels as though we have been the punching bag of Casella for many, many years. We fought well, very well, to get monies back for the things that have gone wrong, over $1 million. And we don't get that money. It goes to the state. But we're the ones that are sitting here watching things happen. I have a piece of property. If I put the garage on the wrong piece of property, I would be sanctioned for it. And this is a company that is supposed to know what they are doing. They are a big company. They're in many states. And when you look at their record, this is one of their, go back to. Yeah. Oh, we made a mistake. Please don't charge us any money. But in the meantime, they're going to threaten you with all kinds of extra fees for what they do for us. I've been on their tours. Their blinders are leaking, but that's not their fault because that was there when they bought it. Okay.
Please confine your remarks to this particular.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I don't understand all the business of the zoning and whatever, but I would just want to let you know that as a citizen, I think you get my point. I'm not happy about bowing down to Casella.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Rich Southwell, 238 Whitefield Road. I want to add to the list of unanswered questions. And I've got a collection of pictures. I think one of these has been somewhat addressed, although I'd like a little more clarity when we get to it, if it's available. These are pictures that have been taken by various neighbors around town. They circulate on social media and text. That is probably on Trudeau Road, by my guess, very close to the flares we can see. And then we go to another one that's a little bit further away, likely Swayze Lane, pretty bright. If we keep going down, well, there's that one. That looks like it was taken from somebody's second floor window. And we got that one. So very bright skies, not 100% sure what time of day all of these might have been very early morning. It's not sunrise though, I can tell you that. And then we get to this one, which is personal to me. On February 11th at 8:42, I got a text and it said, "Notice this over on your land when I let the dogs out. Not sure if someone is over there, but wanted to give you a heads up, which I appreciated. So what was he looking at? We took a screen grab off of the video that he sent, and we see that. This is 8:42 in the evening in February. It's dark, or it should be. And then just to put a exclamation point on it, the sighting is that X in the upper left-hand corner. The source is at the lower right-hand corner. The distance between those 2 points on the town map is about 1.5 miles. I'm curious how this flare that throws that much light is in compliance with the night sky ordinances that we've been having in place for quite a long time, since at least 2010. This one would have been, there was an ordinance in place when this project started, before you guys got involved, that was 2010. And while it's lighting and signage focused, it also does reference other sources or other reasons.
The select board is the enforcement authority in town.
And so I did preface this by saying I'm going to add to the list of unanswered questions. But yeah, but I think my ask would be that, you know, we put the brakes on this until we figure out, you know, how many compliance issues we actually have down there. I'm still a little bit mystified by the timeline. It sounds that when I read your application, it sounded as though this was a due diligence error. You bought something and stuff wasn't where it was supposed to be. It sounds like you guys made an error in moving the facility or moving the candlestick flare. And if I'm wrong, please jump in and let me know. And then you discovered that it was in the wrong place, but then you come to the board asking for relief and you can't explain whose fault it is. So it's a good faith error. It's a good faith error in you guys moving the thing, but you can't tell us who made the good faith error. It just ended up in the wrong place. And I find that a little bit thin.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks.
And also just one more question. Could you provide clarity on the 2 flares that are out there? There's one candlestick, and then you said there are other ones out there. Thank you.
Should I address that now?
Sure.
The flare that's in question is owned and operated by Rudarpa North Country LLC. So not a affiliated with Casella. The other flare that is on Casella property is owned by the landfill and permitted for the landfill itself, not the renewable natural gas facility.
Okay. Julian?
Clarification, the outdoor lighting standards, they don't appear to regulate open flame sources. They only seem to regulate outdoor lighting fixtures. So that may be something that the town would like to look at changing.
There is language in the 2000 building, a long list of uses, right? But to your point, signage and outdoor lighting, sign illumination, building illumination, or other purpose. And so we have outside lighting for another purpose, and that's.
Yeah, we have a bit of parsing. Julian?
Julian Zarni. I live on Swayze Lane. We do see the flare through our bedroom window in our bedroom at night. The pulsation when the flame is burning, typically it's viewable when you have low cloud cover or high humidity. Actually, when there's a clear sky, the light is not reflected in a manner where it's broken apart and spread at a low level. The light of this flare can actually be seen by a camera on the top of Cannon Mountain. I believe that camera is operated by the Mount Washington Observatory. At some point over the winter, the camera was moved so you could not see the pulsation of the light from Cannon Mountain. against the cloud cover at night. Mr. Van Houten, I would support your idea, as the ownership of the land, both at the flare and this reclamation, methane reclamation facility is sitting on, and the surrounding land is owned by Casella, North Country Services, whatever you want to call it, the dump. Lot line adjustment, I've seen that in my neighborhood. Some guy down the street, he built a garage in the corner, ended up on somebody else's land. Go look in the public records. Then he wanted to adjust something for his own particular needs between his own parcels. So he did that. And I don't know if he came to you or the planning board, but whatever. Hire a surveyor, get the people out in the field, set pins so it allows you the what, 30 feet away from the boundary for this flare, and be done with it. Don't come here asking for more. If you're saying, if you're down to move that flare, you're going to be down $1 million+ of revenue. Well, I'm sure surveyors don't cost that much. I would ask you, sir, whoever you are in that squawk box there, that you get your engineers, get your surveyors, move the pins, provide your 30-foot offset, and be done with it. And don't bother this town again. The whole aspect of the light off of that flare, that's a whole nother issue. I'll stop now.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Is there anyone else? Statement or question?
Yeah, when that flare was moved, was it your company or the previous company that moved it?
Our company.
Your company moved it.
What was the answer to that?
Their company moved it.
And what's the relationship between Rudarpa and the other company? The prior? What is it?
Well, it was Rudarpa, now
Viridi.
it's Viridi or something.
Viridi. So what's the? So
We're
wait,
still calling it Rudarpa.
so what's the
Yeah.
relationship between the two?
It was just a change of ownership. We as Viridi purchased that company, which was Rudarpa North Country LLC.
And the parcel on which it is currently encroaching, is that in the same zoning district?
That's probably District 5. It's probably.
Are they both in District 5? Or
No.
then we don't want to mess with.
Right, that, and that's what, lot line adjustment, I was gonna say,
Actually in District 2.
District 2, even,
Both of them.
oh, okay, so that's,
Both parcels are in District 2.
okay, because I was thinking that the next parcel might have still been the 65 acres, District 5.
And then it's kind of diagonal to it.
Okay, you can see that on there.
Okay, but they're both in District 2? And what is permitted in the lighting?
District, that's why they didn't have special exception to begin with, because it's not permitted use.
Okay.
Well, it's not permitted without a special exception.
Right, that's why they had to come.
Yeah,
with
that's-
special
yeah.
exception.
And it's been a while since the original application for the methane production. So can you just give a brief overview of how that whole process works and what the role of the flare is?
Sure. No, that's a great question because I think hopefully it should address some of the light issues as well. So the way this facility works is we receive the landfill gas from the landfill, and basically go through a few treatment steps. One of which is removing some of the moisture from the gas, some contaminants such as volatile organic compounds and hydrogen sulfide. Those end up basically getting pulled out of the gas into a media. And then further from that, there are other components such as carbon dioxide and nitrogen, which are removed from that gas stream as well, basically leaving you with methane. So it's called renewable natural gas. It's essentially 97+% methane, and then that gas is loaded onto tube trailers and taken to an injection point and put in the natural gas commercial system. And with respect to the flare, the flare is there for when the facility is down or having off-spec gas potential. And the reason that you've seen it operate more frequent in the last, I guess, last year or so, that site has, though it has been built in there for a few years, has really just started operating since we took over and revamped it. So a lot of that flame that you'll see is from the startup process, basically us going up and down on turning the plant on and off. And if the plant is running how it should be, which is 24/7, there should be no gas going to that flare.
So that clarifies what I was gonna ask, because when the special exception was originally granted, from the minutes that I see, it said that the flare would be capped off. So the impression was there would be no flare at all, but you're saying if it's running correctly, there doesn't need to be.
Correct. When the plant is doing what it's supposed to do, there's no flame in that flare.
Are you running now?
That is a great question.
Running last night?
I believe so, and the reason I don't know exactly, there was a hiccup the last couple of days with some like a server that went down, and so I don't know if they got back up last night or not.
Well, I drive by every day, so you must not run very often.
Say that again. I'm very sorry.
I drive by every day. You must not run that place very often, but the flare is on almost every time I drive by,
Oh, okay.
including last night.
But you're saying that in normal operation, there should not be any flaring,
Correct.
okay?
I asked another board question before we go back to public.
I'm not going back to the.
Well, public hands whatever. What's the elevation difference from when the flare was originally until you moved it? It's clearly closer to the road now. Is it a higher elevation or a lower elevation?
I don't know the exact elevation. I can pull that, but it's not much. It's roughly it would be a few feet plus or minus in each direction. It's not it hasn't moved to a different elevation in the property itself, really.
Okay, but it's closer to the road now.
It is.
Than it was.
I don't believe it's actually closer to the road. It's really parallel to where the
More
road
obvious.
is. It moved parallel, yeah.
Here to there.
So I just pulled up the topographic map.
All right, thank you.
I'll share this.
It's hard to see when you drive by. I see the flare. It's hard to see where it moved from.
These are 10-foot elevations. I believe these are 10-foot elevation changes. So
Yeah, nothing.
the flare is roughly here,
Okay,
and so it's about 10
so it's
feet.
going down.
Yep.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out if where it was to where it is now,
Mhm.
or where 8 feet over would make it any less flare-ish.
I believe where it was originally was more visible and would have been visible if the original folks had finished constructing the site.
I remember seeing it in both locations when they first started up, and then they closed down, but
So the original location was roughly right here.
No, it's right next to the building,
yeah.
yeah.
On the original map, in 21, it was about 100 feet away from the building.
Yeah.
And then they had to move it up to here for safety.
Mhm.
Safety reasons.
This is the new
Yeah,
one?
it stays.
That's the old one.
This is the new one.
No,
This is, yeah, it's like right in here somewhere.
Oh, so they moved it quite a bit.
And so the as-built showed the setback line. And they were supposed to build towards the building, and it looks like they may have built outwards rather than inwards. With the comparison of the plans.
So that's maybe the prevailing theory, is that they identified and located the coordinates, but then put the pad on the wrong side of the coordinates.
Potentially.
Yeah. All right. Any other public comments? Yes.
I believe I recall when they started this, they were talking about that area being a place where the community would be able to go, and it was going to be a positive thing for the community. I may be wrong on that, and if I am, I apologize, but that's the way I read it, that they were going to have things where you could walk through and do things in that
Are
area.
you thinking of when they got granted the 10 acres in 2021?
I'm not sure exactly, yeah.
Conservation easement.
Right,
So that might be
There was
what
a sustainability park sign there.
right, thank you.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that was
And that was
Right.
what they were
for
speaking,
industrial stuff. They were.
right,
they wanted
okay,
to-
just
Yeah.
a question, thank you.
So what, you said 2 trucks a day?
Roughly 4.
Okay, and 4 trucks a day would keep the flare or from happening, or do you need more trucks?
No, correct. That's it. Four trucks a day is what the facility capacity is, and the trucks end up acting as basically the storage itself for the gas. So when the truck driver will drop a trailer at the site, and that will fill up overnight, and then he'll come up and pick it in the morning and take it and swap it out.
And where do they connect to the pipeline?
It's actually in Elliott, Maine. It is owned and operated by XNG, and it goes on to an Enbridge pipeline.
Cool, thank you.
Any other question? Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I'll wait till the end. Apologies.
Okay. Any other questions from the public or the board?
Andrew, did you find, I'm just curious, what were you reading from? As far as the prior,
Oh, the planning board minutes, planning board minutes from 2018, the original ones. I don't have the old ones.
okay.
And then I was reading from the zoning board minutes, the original zoning board for the special exception. When I talked about the flare.
And read that again, please.
It says the flare will be capped off. That will reduce emissions at 60,000 tons per year. And then in their special exception back then, they talked about being good neighbors and, well, we have a business who can get rid of the flare. So back then they were talking that there would be no flare.
I guess I need my answer about the whole planning board approval before I go much further.
Well, that will show up.
And can you just, so you mentioned there's some computer issues. What are all the different problems? Why you're not operating at capacity?
No, the only reason that it would have not been operating, it would have been just for the last 4 days, I believe. It had a server go down. Honestly, it was like, it's basically like your computer.
Right, no, but you said but all winter long, we've been seeing the flare, so I'm a little confused. You said we wouldn't see the flare if it's operating at capacity, but it's not. And why is that not again?
Because it has been going through a series of debugging through the commissioning process. Like we'll run it for a few hours and realize that we have to change something on a compressor, and during that time the gas has to go to the flare. But once all of the bugs are worked out, so to speak, then it should be a fairly seamless operation.
Do you have a timeline for that? That when the plant will be running at capacity and the flare won't be visible? I just raised it because that's one of the conditions for the original special exception grant.
That the original condition was that
The original, yeah, so there are certain conditions to the granting of the special exception, and one of them was to limit noise and light. So I'm just curious if you have a schedule or a timeline for when the plant will be running correctly and the flare will be, largely absent.
It should be as soon as that, well, if that server is fixed. But really where it's at right now in its operation is very close to steady state operation.
Mhm.
It's just concerning since, I mean, obviously the original special exception was from 2018. So we're nearing 8 years. And in 8 years, the bugs haven't been worked out.
Well, it's a new owner.
It's just, but it bought the company. It's not, I mean, it just got gobbled up by another company.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, the flare. It started on the background in 2018. However, the first flare wasn't installed until 2021.
Okay. Okay, but it's still, okay, so then 5 years,
Yeah.
then.
Still,
So
yeah,
it's still quite,
few
it's
years.
still quite a time to work out the bugs.
And to be honest, I mean, we stepped in to revitalize that facility. I mean, it basically if it would be just flaring right now, only flaring at the landfill side versus the RNG plant side without that facility operating. So without the facility operating, the landfill gas gets flared 100% of the time.
Right.
Right.
But that flare is blue and not as obvious.
Which flare's blue?
The original flare.
The dump one.
The original flare wasn't as or bright as the new flare.
Yeah.
Why does,
Okay.
why does the flare sometimes brighter than others?
I do not know, to be honest. I'm not sure what I haven't seen the blue of the other flare that you're mentioning.
I think it's cloud cover.
Well,
But
I
as
think
part
like
of-
Julian said, it's probably a lot of atmospheric conditions, as
Yeah.
Julian described.
Cloud.
But it sounds like in this recommissioning and optimization process, you're burning various things. I mean, your permit lists 3 different sort of gas sources that could be going through the flare. And I suppose that you're also burning some of the product if that's necessary during your process of optimizing the plant operation.
Right. For instance, if when I mentioned the product compressor, that there's a compressor that is able to compress the gas enough to put into the trailers. If that goes down, then the product gas ends up getting routed to the utility flare.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
It sounded like we were coming to the end, and I did want to just belabor a point.
Only 3 minutes of belaborment, though.
Okay, I'll get out of 2. We've established that the flare was moved by the current owner. So this happened subsequent to their purchase. So this was not an error of we missed it during our diligence. They're responsible for the movement. They're responsible for the encroachment.
Mm-hmm.
What we don't know, and you've proffered an interesting theory that could very well be correct, but that's not the board's responsibility. It's the owner's responsibility to explain how this happened. And once you explain how this happened, then you can determine whether it was a good faith error or, you know what, we just really wanted it over there and oops, and come to the board for relief. So I'll leave it at that. And it was under 2.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the public and the board? I guess we can close the public hearing then and go to considering the criteria.
We don't close public hearing, close public comment.
I'm sorry?
Wasn't the comment. Gotta keep the hearing open.
Close the hearing, it's over. We can close the comment,
Oh, okay.
right?
No,
You can
it's just,
close the public hearing and start board deliberation.
Oh.
During board deliberations, there's
Sorry.
no discussion between the board and the public or the applicants.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
Just stop in the middle.
Okay, so let's then, if everybody's okay with it, step through the criteria. So the criteria one. Does the request involve a dimensional requirement, not a use restriction?
What? No.
This, that one,
Is it not
Okay,
these?
this is the,
These.
what?
read that.
Okay. Yeah, it should have been what these
No, it's
were
different,
here.
because not a.
Yeah, that's not good.
Page asks before the criterion.
Yeah,
First question is, does this request involve a dimensional requirement, not a use restriction?
right, but it's numbered along with the criteria, so that's not. That's a problem with the application, I think. So, well, let's go through the criteria that we'll put down here. These are from the state law. So criteria number one, violation discovered. Based on the evidence presented, does the board find that the violation was not discovered until after substantial completion?
Well, I think that's what Chris was pointing out, is that we just don't have enough information to determine that. So I don't think the right person's here, right?
Well, I guess, mistakes happen, 8 feet to 8 feet. My question is, was that supposed to be approved by the planning board first? I don't know that answer.
Well, that's two different questions.
Well, no, because,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
The second one is the good faith error question.
Yeah.
Number one is the violation found, after substantial
Yeah,
completion.
It seems to me that they did not find this until after it was mostly complete.
yeah.
Otherwise, they would have moved it.
If there was no title search, they would have never found it. Basically.
Well,
Insurance.
yes and no. If they'd had a building permit and there was an inspection, then it might have been discovered during the inspection.
Well,
Yeah.
So,
So inspection does building code, not necessarily
setbacks.
setbacks. They don't do code enforcement, building inspections, they're two separate entities.
Well, it's,
Granted, here they're one person, but when they're doing an inspection, that's their role is for building code. Rather than setbacks when they're doing for a building permit. And it was prior to my time, so I don't know who was doing planning and zoning at the time, and if they reviewed it or not, I have to do some research.
okay.
I move that we approve criterion one, that they did not find the violation until after it was substantially complete.
I'll second that.
All,
So this document, it's on page 3,
so we have a motion on the table.
and this is mislabeled. So this is really one.
Yeah. So we have a motion seconded to approve criterion one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Criterion one is accepted. Criterion two, good faith error. Based on the evidence presented, does the board find that the violation resulted from a good faith error in measurement and not from ignorance, failure to inquire, or bad faith? And I think we really have to distinguish other things that might have been going on from the specific siting of that relocation.
Yeah, and I think this is where Chris is saying that the only way we know is to look at the original plans too.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Mhm.
You asking the applicant?
The applicant.
So you guys have to pause deliberations, reopen the public hearing.
Oh,
So there just has to be a motion to reopen the public hearing, second it. Vote.
I guess well, past board, what I think? Okay.
Yeah.
Board, hi.
We're still here.
Did the applicant reach out to the town and ask before moving the flag?
Doesn't sound like it. There's no evidence of
We
it.
haven't been able to find any evidence that the plans or the application went to anyone other than DES.
Or DES doing it?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
DES, no, they don't tell us that, yeah.
they care about different rules than we do.
Mhm.
Do you have something that shows that DES knew?
Temporary permits.
Yeah,
Showed the move?
So we do the wetland permit, DES notifies us.
yeah, this was, yeah, so the air quality services. Very good ask, but yeah, Air Resources Division was the one that granted the permit.
But you know for sure it's the second permit, not the, I mean, the second flare, not the first flare?
Yeah, so this modification to the permit specifically says this is being moved and enlarged, and this is a permit for the relocated and enlarged flare. And it does say that it's the same flare modified and moved to a different location.
Right, so DES does not concern themselves with the location of the flare as far as town regs are concerned.
Yes.
And so who is supposed to, and who in the town is supposed to be keeping track of that? If they're moving a significant piece of infrastructure, as Chris pointed out, you would think that the planning board would be notified. And if they haven't been, then actually what we're talking about is not in compliance because it has no permit. And it seems like that permit issue should be resolved and this hearing should be suspended until that is sorted out. That's a motion.
Second it.
Yeah, so to restate that a little bit more. So failure to inquire would be, we didn't check whether this needed to go through the planning board.
Yep.
Or whether a building permit would have helped to discover this error.
I don't think it would trigger side, well, if it was a shed, I say, a 3x3 shed, that's
Yeah.
not square footage, but it's not a shed, it's a 40-foot tall flare. So I don't know what triggers a permit, but I'd like to know that answer that was just asked.
Right.
If it's required.
And neither the applicant nor we know the answer to that question.
Correct.
So, I believe, I feel they know a lot of things in town. But people do stuff all the time, not realizing that they need to notify the town. It happens, but
Yeah,
I just can't believe the state, and I don't know the process, but you'd think something like this to be some sort of notification to the town.
mhm.
Well, they issued a permit, but they don't care about our
I
setbacks.
see that. Yeah, but you think the town would know that it's being moved? We get notification, we get stuff, if you want to do a wetlands permit, for example, the state, the town gets notification.
Mhm.
So they're the same, so my question is, the town is getting notification from this temporary permit? That's what I want to know.
We were unable to find any evidence that that was the case. However, I mean, the town has this temporary permit. So how did the town get it? It's in the
That's not
records.
official.
Sorry?
It was delivered by someone.
Yeah, so there was, in that sense, a notification. The town had the permit delivered to it. It's in the files.
Well, that ain't the one question.
Right, still, if this requires a building permit, it doesn't have one.
Land board approval.
Right, but would the building permit have made a difference to whether or not this error would have been caught before or after construction?
I would expect so.
And it kind of talks to whether it's a good faith mistake or doesn't matter. Mistake.
Well, if the planning board saw this and they said, hey, that's awfully close to the setback. If I was on the planning board in my time, I'd say, hey, that's awfully close to the setback.
Yeah, so that's a possibility.
So that might have
Right.
been, they could have said hypothetically, oh, okay, maybe we'll move it. Cause when you measure something on the ground, the coordinates 8 feet, that sounded a lot, but 8 feet to the front corner, 8 feet to the back corner. But I just wanna know if it's supposed to come to the planning board. That's my main gripe right now.
It looks like the new owner failed to ask the town if it needed planning board approval. Needed a permit to do that
Mhm.
from the town. So that's a failure to inquire. So I move we deny number 2 based on that.
Any other discussion? Does that make sense to the rest of you?
So we deny it, or I'm sorry, or.
Well, I suppose that maybe what we would do would be suspend until we get further
Suspend, right.
information.
If planning board was never required, then what I'm arguing would be formed. So let's spend it till we get the answers.
And these are the same as special exception or variance. If one fails, it all fails. Correct.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
we say that it fails, then we deny the whole thing. If we say we just want to suspend the hearing until we get the answers, that's
Come
different.
back this morning.
Yeah.
So suspend the hearing to get the answers.
Yeah, it seems like it would be good to find if there was any outreach to the planning board. We don't really know that, do we?
No, we don't.
No, not currently.
And if it's required.
Well, the first step would be to ask, is it needed?
Right, that's what, yeah.
It's not up to us to decide that.
No, but it's up to us to find out if it happened.
Yes.
As evidence of the,
So
Good
there's a
faith.
current motion to deny by David.
Suspend,
To change that amended. to
please,
suspend.
change that to suspend,
okay,
awaiting further info.
Suspend the hearing.
Yes,
Or whatever the legal word is for
The
that.
table, do you
Yeah.
guys want to do it to a date certain, so then you don't have to re-notice? Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
NCES.
yeah. So Andrew's asking if he can make a comment.
So you have to just open up the public comment section again.
Even for the applicant?
Yes.
You would have to pause deliberations and then open the public hearing again.
Okay,
I make a motion to open public hearing.
Second,
all in favor? Okay,
go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, sorry about that. I apologize. I don't hope this did not mess up the proceeding. The question on if the town was contacted, I am looking into that, but I do know that Horizons Engineering is who our consultant is or was for the permitting, at least the local permitting aspect of this, and we did discuss with them whether or not that this needed to be addressed. There was also discussion on whether or not we had to reopen an alteration of terrain permit that was issued to us, issued to the prior owner, both of which were deemed that this was a de minimis move or de minimis activity being done. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I could also try to get that information as well.
We'll do our own research.
yeah, so that's helpful, but we should also find out what the planning board's position on that is. It's one thing for an engineering firm to say it doesn't need additional consideration, but the permitting board should also weigh in on that so that we can be clear on the sequence of actions and decisions.
Understood.
Does that make sense, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have the public hearing open again. Okay, I'll move to close the public hearing again.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so do we want to put a motion on to table the hearing while we answer this question about the planning?
so moved.
I would think that we might want to go through the other criterion just in case there's
More
other
questions.
questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Are we allowed to do that? Then I say we do that.
Yeah. You guys can review all of it.
mhm,
and then, but still, because we might have other questions and then.
fair enough.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, that we have to go through these in order, so we can suspend consideration of criterion 2 and still consider 3 and 4.
You can still talk about it.
Yeah,
So the application has been denied, but you can still talk about criterion.
or
Suspended, table.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and if you guys are picking a date to table this until, we'll have to ask. We'll have to request the applicant for an extension because we are coming up on the 65-day window. And if you do it to a date certain, then you won't have to re-notify them. It can just be tabled until June, whatever, May, whatever. So a date and time and place.
okay.
How long is it gonna take us to get the answers to those questions we just asked?
That's,
A week.
Week or so.
yeah,
We might have more questions, so.
Right, let's see what the rest
yeah.
says, so criterion.
Yeah, first week in June, maybe.
That's possible. Okay,
Well, I wonder if we're done talking about number 2 then.
I think we are.
Okay.
We'll go on to 3. So criterion 3, based on the evidence presented, does the board find that the violation does not create a nuisance, diminish surrounding property values, or interfere with existing or permitted uses? And this is very specifically the violation, not the facility itself. So we're talking about the flare being located, what, less than 10 feet from its intended location?
Well, 100 feet from the original location, so.
Well, the original location,
Yeah.
but from the intended location.
Right, it seems to me that there's a very real possibility that this would diminish the surrounding property value, because if you're gonna put anything on the adjoining property at the near setback, which is 30 feet, then you're less than 60 feet from this 40-foot high flare.
Yep.
And we don't know what's gonna happen with the adjoining piece of land. Somebody might want to put something there that would be bothered by that, and it
Yeah.
would be irresponsible of us to set that up for them. As I said before, if you were to then move the property line over a little bit, then they would be pushed back. The neighbor would be pushed back from being so close to this obvious nuisance.
Yeah, but Mr. Casella owns it and he's not here, so, and he doesn't give a hoot.
Well, it doesn't matter who owns it, because they
Yeah.
can sell it and the next person can do something. We have no idea what it is.
Well,
or who
that's an
they are.
interesting bit, because if you wanted to make sure that the land had value from being more than 30 feet away from the flare, then at that point, they could do the line adjustment. Now, it does beg the question, why not move the line now rather than later, but that could address
Well,
the
It could, but I don't feel comfortable being the person who is setting that up. I think that's the owner's responsibility.
Wonder, because did the movement of the flare, or does this, even if it's only a few feet, it could change where it's located and how it's seen.
it has to be a pretty small effect from the intended location.
There's no question from
Yeah.
the evidence we saw this evening, from the pictures and the public, that this is seen from ways and it is interfering with neighbors. But I don't know if the 8 feet in the right direction, if it'd still be there.
Yeah.
There's no question that it should be seen for miles. I see it every night. And it's very bright from the road, to the point almost blinding when you look at it when we have a helmet on and you pull off the road and get your eyes shut. So, but I don't think 8 feet
Yeah.
would change that.
Yeah, I think we have to insert into this criterion significant nuisance, significantly diminish property values, significantly interfere with existing or permitted uses.
The last night when I drove by,
That's significant.
Well,
I drove by a public road last night, and when I saw it, I had to pull over, because my helmet, there was so hard, hurt my eyes. That was
Yeah,
a public
yeah.
road.
no. There,
Granted, I was staring at a flame, so I'm an idiot.
So,
I was on a public road looking at it.
so then that questions whether it's legal or not, but then people need to take that to the select board.
yeah,
But
So-
8 feet would not change it.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
so,
saying.
yeah.
That brings up the point, is this, a problem bigger than us that needs to go to enforcement?
Yeah.
to the select
So,
board?
I think we can certainly say, we can meet criterion 3, however, the issues that are considered by that should be taken up elsewhere because of larger concerns. So do we have additional questions that we want to ask with regard to criterion 3? Or do we know as much as we need for this specific criterion?
Either purview of the board, I don't think there's any other questions to ask for it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need a site visit or anything like that, so.
no. Okay, can we move on to criterion 4?
You wanna vote on 3?
No, so this is just general discussion, just so
Okay.
that you guys can have
Okay.
the whole thing, the whole picture for the applicant.
Okay. So criterion 4, cost versus public benefit. Based on the evidence, does the board find that the cost to correct the violation substantially outweighs any public benefit? So, we do find that the cost of moving the flare itself could be quite large. The cost of moving the property line could be quite small.
Nothing.
And what is the size or the nature or the expense of the value of the public benefit of moving? Is there any?
No matter where you move it, you'll see it. If you're seeing from miles away, you're gonna see it no matter where it is.
Right, but the
That's not
public,
why we're here
the
today.
public benefit you're talking about, and you're talking about a setback violation, is the neighbor.
Yeah.
And the neighboring land is gonna
That's
be
true.
owned by somebody, we don't know who it is.
Yep.
And if they wanna do something there, that's going to be an inconvenience and an encroachment on their rights.
So can we consider anybody but the present owner?
Have to base it on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We need to base on the current
Base the
owner.
decision off of future potential changes.
And
We
it's
have
the
to
same
base
owner
on
now.
What is current now.
You do?
Yep.
So there will be no future for that property.
There isn't
There could be.
anyways.
There may or may not be, but you can't base a decision on future uses, on future potential uses.
Where's that?
That's our say. Hold on, pull it. Right.
Check.
I think in any case, it would have been incumbent on NCES to come and say, this is decreasing the value of my property.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I mean, also just on, one other thing on the cost issue is, not. They could just sue the company that screwed up, which isn't them.
So for RSA 674-33A, which is the equitable waiver of dimensional requirements, the board must base its decision on the evidence in the record, the facts as they exist at the time of the hearing, and the 4 statutory criteria. The board should not rely on hypothetical future possibilities unless there is credible evidence showing they are reasonably likely to occur.
Okay, well, the owner of this property has been doing business in Bethlehem for quite some time, and they are about to cease doing business here. It occurs to me that they might want to be getting rid of that piece of property sooner rather than later. So I think that what might be happening next door is actually relevant.
Sure. If the board so chooses.
But would the little distance make a difference to people who do buy it? Like if somebody buys that property, a few feet isn't going to,
Well, that you don't know without a site visit. Depends on where they want to put their swimming pool.
Be lit there.
Yeah, I think that comes under the category of hypothetical.
With the leachates flowing in and out.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any question or additional information that we feel that we need in order to rule on this criterion?
Not from me.
I mean, the cost, as mentioned numerous times tonight, to do a lot line, would be a lot cheaper than moving it.
Yeah. So not as cheap as providing the waiver. That's correct. So
And
what is the cost or the lack of public benefit to
what is the public?
granting the waiver?
Right.
That's kind of an interesting question, does it harm the town or the residents thereof to grant a dimensional waiver that is offset by the cost of remedying the problem instead?
That's up for you guys to decide.
I don't think that we can answer that. There's no price tag that I've ever seen put on the waiver itself, so.
And something else, I think up to a different thought. I guess I'd like to see the original plans of where the flare was.
Well, that's been identified pretty clearly.
And that's from 2021, so that was none of the documents that the zoning board considered back in 2018 had information about a flare. That first occurs, at least in the documents which the town possesses, along with the building plans and the building permit in 2021.
Which is when they came back for a extension, because they hadn't built yet from
Right.
2018.
So, but I don't know that goes to criterion 4. Anyways. So it seems to me that we don't have any particular or specific question or piece of information that we need for criterion 4. So can we consider the discussion concluded?
Finito.
Okay. So I think the next thing is to figure out if we can
This does say or future land use.
I'm sorry?
Criteria for the last thing said for future land use. Which contradicts the other
What are you looking at?
criterion for the very, oh, never mind, I'm looking at their answers, never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
So they may or may not be right about that, but that's
Yeah.
part of it. All right, so we should figure out if there's a date that gives us enough time to ask about the permitting, and that also Mark or others can attend.
June 2nd,
We try June 2nd.
the nearest, that gives us 2 weeks.
I'm trying to find out. In concert is.
Yeah, it's the Energy
It's not
Commission.
a good day for us. The two of us are supposed to be somewhere else.
Well, we'll do it there.
Does it have to be on
We'll have-
Tuesday?
We're already over 65 days, right?
The 21st is the 65 days, so you will also have to request, the applicant to allow an extension.
What
Okay.
happens if that's denied?
Then you guys deny the application because you can't make a determination before the 65-day deadline. So.
Okay.
I don't want to be rushed. I've
You
learned
can't
in
do
this
it by-
town, we
can't do
rush
it by
things in
Thursday.
the states.
June 9th.
Happen over and over again.
So I would probably advise the board to first check with the applicant if they are willing to allow for an extension of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however quick.
Okay, can we?
Yep, yes. Now that deliberations are closed, you guys.
Okay. Mark,
Back and forth.
we would like to find out a little bit more about the permitting situation. So we propose to ask for an extension of the 65 days to make a judgment on the application and reschedule for June 9th. Is that possible for you? No?
You're asking me, apologies.
The transfer station.
I'm sorry. So is that, we're trying to figure out if that works for us. Does that work for you?
I believe so. I do have a question related to that though, is if it's determined that I'll say everything is clear or copacetic on the select board, based on what you discussed on the other criteria, do you feel that there's any reason why this would not pass if that were the case?
Can't say that.
The board can't answer that question, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They'd have to review the evidence that comes to them.
But the specific question we want to ask is about permitting for the flare move by the planning board, not the select board. So there's a specific question that we want to ask and have answered. and then we'll include that in our deliberations, and we feel at this point that then we'll have enough information to make a determination.
Okay. Sure. Yes, I approve the extension. You mentioned June
Can we do June
1st?
9th?
You're not here?
It's a transfer station committee meeting. I can be here instead.
Okay.
June 9th is
Tuesday is
okay.
Energy Commission, so that's,
June 9th is
That's
okay.
more important.
June 9th?
June 9th.
June 9th is a Tuesday.
Okay, we good?
For you, Chris?
I have something every Tuesday. I just keep it to be here. I feel like this is pretty important. I don't know. This is more important than I feel Energy Commission, but that's my own opinion. But I don't know. Whatever you're available, I'll make it work. That's how I operate.
Mhm.
I'd listen to this board. That's my job.
So the extension being requested is until June 9th. And we just need a motion to table this until June 9th at 6 p.m. here.
Okay,
I move we table this until June 9th at 6 p.m. here.
Doesn't know.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Application is tabled until June 9th.
Thank you.
And so our deliberations we'll move to close the deliberations. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
The next item on the agenda is.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone who joined us.
Adjournment.
on Zoom.
I move we
Thank you.
adjourn.
Thank you all for your
oh, glad we
time.
just did that. Okay, thanks to everybody who came and attended and contributed.
Have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank you
Mark.
very much.
Thanks all.
We'll see you again on June 9th.